A lot of people are buying plants that are grown on a stick, or a standard as it's called, a trunk. And we want to talk a little bit about what that means, both in terms of what you're purchasing and how you kind of should manage it later in the landscape. So a standard is simply a standard, a straight trunk. Grafting a shrub, which really doesn't want to have a single trunk, or a plant with a weeping character like a weeping cherry or a weeping mulberry on a trunk allows you to have that weeping form a little bit higher in the air, or to have a shrub on a stick, if you will. So American Standard for Nursery Stock defines the differences between plants that are grown on standard. High standard and low standard are different plants. They will give you a different character in the landscape. Since we are in the dead of winter, let me show you a little bit using this house plant. This would be a high standard, up to maybe 4 feet or higher. And on top, we would graft the shrub or the weeping tree. This is what you would get then, a trunk with that unusual plant grafted to the top. Low standard, on the other hand, is going to be down here in the 24 inches and under range. Still on a trunk, a single trunk, but quite lower in the landscape. One of the best examples that we see a lot is going to be blue spruce. You'll see a spruce, a globe blue spruce, typically grafted high, or you'll see it grafted low. Interestingly enough, the one that's grafted high is still going to get wide. So one of the things you want to keep in mind as you are choosing a high standard or a low standard is, what are you after in the landscape? These are pieces of art. These are typically not long-term contributors to the landscape. If that graft union is weak, as with any other grafted plant, you are going to get some failure. The longer the trunk and the heavier the top, we get into situations where they can actually blow out of the ground, tip over in the ground. So you want to make sure you are cognizant of that, and then choose based on understanding, again, that this is a piece of artwork. This is not going to be something that'll live in your landscape for 20 or 30 or 40 years.